Sales scripts are dead and sales frameworks are in. The Jordan Belfort, straight line persuasion days of selling is just not how people in society communicate anymore. And frankly, it's quite off-putting to the market nowadays. So in this video, we're actually going to cover the exact framework that I've used to teach the sales teams in the portfolio of e-learning businesses that we have in our company that have produced over $100 million in revenue. Here we are in my backyard in Mesa, Arizona. I am Sam Queen, the close doctor, and I help businesses with high ticket offers scale to 7-8 figures and beyond with my systems-based selling strategies. If you're looking to map your sales process, map your sales framework that we're talking about in this video, or map anything else that I talk about in any of these other videos on your screen here, book a call with me down below, and I'd be happy to chat with you, or you can speak with someone on my team. Now let's get into the video. Now this framework that we're going to cover is the sales framework that I use specifically for business to consumer, B2C, high ticket sales, e-learning environments. We're talking businesses like Sub2 with Pace Morby, Astro Flipping with Jamil Damji, Credit Stacking with Jack McCall, among many others. Now, this exact framework is exactly that. We're talking about a framework. Frameworks are used to guide conversation, guide the motion, guide the lead down the journey of the sales process that you're trying to take them through. There's no more reading word for word, line for line in at least the ecosystem of businesses that we have. So here's that framework for you. First, you're going to set the table. From there, you got to figure out what brought people to the table, what's going on. Once we've understood why they're here, we really need to get their current state. So understanding their current state is going to be our third step there. Building pain within the current state is going to be our fourth step to this sales framework. Once we've built the pain, we need to understand the desired state. So current state, pain, desired state. Once we have the desired state, we're gonna bring it back all in with commitments and locking down our lead with commitments. And then we're going to actually give the overview on the outcome, not features and benefits, on how our program actually works, and then handle objections from there if there are any. The first step in my B2C sales framework is to set the table or give the agenda of what the call is going to look like. So yes, you've done the small talk, you've done the rapport building. Of course, that is a part of every conversation that you have with everyone in society, not just sales calls. So once you've got that part out of the way, what I mean by setting the table is really letting your prospect and your lead know what to expect on the call, how the call is going to flow. When you've set the table, as you're progressing through the call, they're going to feel that energy that you're bringing them along with, that energy that you told them explicitly about and how the call would actually function. Once you set the table, you can refer back to what the agenda looks like. If you're losing control over the conversation in your sales call, hey, I understand, you want to get into what we offer, what it is that we do, but really I just need to go back to the framework that you gave them at the beginning when setting the table. Really, I just need to figure out where you are and how we can help. So what does actually setting the table look like, or setting the agenda? For me, it sounds something like this. So really my job on this call today is I'm the bouncer at the door for the program. I'm checking IDs when I'm letting people in. I love to be a little humorous in my conversation. Situation looks like, where you're trying to go, and then try to connect the dots with our program and what it is that we actually have to offer to see if it's something that we can help you out with. From there, I'll walk you through what it is, how it works, answer any questions, make sure your I's are dotted, T's are crossed. And if you're excited about it and want to talk about next steps on how to move forward, you'll be able to make a decision at the end of the call. And the make a decision at the end of the call is a very, very crucial part to that statement there, because that is what we want. That decision comes in the form of a commitment, and that commitment is to making change. It might not be taking our program, but if someone's coming into our sales call, someone's coming into our environment with a pain to receive some sort of outcome, hopefully by the end of at least this conversation, they're going to make a decision to take some form of action to solve their pain, whether with us or someone else. If that happens, then whether or not you sold the program, you accomplished your job of moving that person in the right direction for whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. No, you're not going crazy. I do keep moving back in the camera shot to get the sun out of my face. Now, the next part to this framework is asking what brought us here. Hey, what brought us to the call today? How did we end up on this call today? Tell me, what brought us here? Any variation of that line there. Make it a part of the framework because I want it to be the very first question asked every single time. That question is opening up the pool, opening up the opportunity to start taking inventory on where your prospect is currently at in their buying process. Once you've got that inventory, that initial question is really going to drive every single question from there. And that brings us in to figuring out what their current state is. Some questions that you can ask to figure out someone's current state after they've given you what brought them to the call today are very simple, open-ended ones. The most powerful questions you can ask are, what do you mean by that? Can you tell me more about that? What have you been doing to try to solve that? Can you elaborate? These very open-ended questions are going to give your prospect the opportunity to continue to talk to you, to continue to give you more information, which is going to continue to allow you as the sales rep to paint the picture of what that current state looks like. That current state is going to be very important as we bridge the gap to their desired state. Now, once we've found what that current state looks like, we're going to start asking piercing questions to really start building the pain within the prospect. That question of, can you tell me more about that, is a piercing question into the pain that they already told you, and you're saying, can you give me more information on that pain? Now, asking that question again after they give you more information, is there anything else? It sounds very repetitive, but when you give people the space and you create the environment and give them the space to talk to you and ask the right questions, the amount of information that you're going to start to get is invaluable to how you're going to tie them down at the end of your sales conversation. So we've set the table, we know why they're here, we found the current state, and we've built some pain. Now let's go to where the grass is greener and figure out what that actual desired state looks like. So that brings me into the next part of building a B2C sales framework for high ticket offers, and that is figuring out what someone's desired state looks like or what their goal or desired outcome is. Questions that help you figure out what a desired state or desired outcome is referring back to their current state. Hey John, currently you are at $5,000 a month in income. Tell me, where are you trying to get to? I'm trying to get to $10,000 a month. John, have you ever made $10,000 a month before? No, I haven't. Well, what would $10,000 a month do for you? It would do this for me. It would do that for me. It would do this for me. It would do that for me. It would open up this door. I could take this trip. I could spend this time with my family or on this project. What do you mean by that? Can you tell me more about that? Those questions, those open-ended questions, is there anything else? Those are your piercing questions that's now going to take where the grass is greener and make it even greener, greener, greener. Where the grass is not greener is on the backside of my pool over here.
Which part?
Just the worst.
I can see.
Over there is fine. You got it. In a lot of offers, they are very much so tied down to a financial outcome, or maybe if it's a health offer, it's how much weight they want to lose. The important part here in figuring out someone's desired state is to actually get to the commitment. You need the tie down. You need what it is that they want. You need the expectation from them that they are setting for themselves, and figure out and paint the picture on why they're setting that expectation for themselves. Which brings me to bridging the gap. Bridging the gap from current state to desired state is the most important part of this sales conversation, in my opinion. If we look at how a lead ends up on most calendars in this B2C environment, it's from an advertisement of some sorts. That advertisement is supposed to bring some awareness to someone that is probably already aware of a problem that they have and agitate it. They come through maybe your VSL funnel, watch a free training, watch a case study, consume some sort of content, and you've put them very close to what they think the solution to their problem is. You've been able to take that person that was unsure that a solution existed whatsoever for their outcome, and through your marketing efforts, you're able to put them very close together. Now, if we look at the sales framework that we're using of understanding current state, building pain, finding desired state, and then being a bridge between them, the bridge comes in because our questions that we're asking, we are trying to pull current state and desired state so far apart from each other that your prospect is going to have no other choice but to think that you, where you're going to position yourself in between, is going to be the solution to what it is that they're looking for. Now, this is very, very powerful. This sales script, when used the right way, can be manipulative. I've seen people use it to manipulate. I've seen people with bad offers, with bad fulfillment, with poor marketing efforts, use a very powerful sales script like this to pull anyone across the line. Because when you can build that pain and figure out that why, people will sell themselves, and that's the power behind this. I actually learned a lot of what I know in the sales world from Sam Ovens, his consulting.com alchemic conversion script. I think he is one of the greatest of all time in this space, and that script is worth its absolute weight in gold. When I first learned this exact framework that we're talking about right here, I went and closed 17 deals that same week. I was given the framework and I closed 17 deals. Since then, I've never closed that many deals in a week because just as sales reps, as salespeople, we start to think we know more than we actually do because we start to learn and get better, and we get away from really the foundational, fundamental level that started us off. And you see that among many people and many organizations, among many teams. I don't know too many people that it doesn't happen to. Knowledge at some point in time is a bad thing because with too much of it, you're going to have information overload in your head and you're going to start telling and selling instead of asking, and some other word that I can't come up with to make that a really good analogy. The next part to my B2C sales framework is to gather commitments. Many people don't like this part. I personally do like this part because it gets a lot of objections out of the way for me. And gathering commitments oftentimes look like, for me, locking down a time commitment. Hey, do you have X amount of hours a week to allocate to this? If someone says no, they're not a fit for your program, and don't try to bring them into it, right? If someone can't put in the time it takes to be successful with what you have to offer, don't sell it to them. There's nothing to sell them. They can't be successful. The second commitment is a coachability commitment. Wrapping in, we're really looking for the right person, the person that wants to sit at the front of the class and raise their hand as far as being coachable, which is a nice segue into the third commitment of, are you an action taker? I love this one. I ask this question. Yes, of course, we're looking for people that are coachable and we want them to raise their hand and sit in the front of the class, but really we need those people that after they've raised their hand, after they're sitting in the front of the class and they're learning all that information and they're given that feedback or they're given that homework, that they're the first ones to go home and do that homework. They're the ones that take action and actually take information and put action behind it to move the needle. And I really want to get an understanding of whether or not they're an action taker because I want to tie them down to what is my golden question. And my golden question is, that's amazing, Kathy. Now, I know I obviously haven't explained too much about what it is that we actually offer, how it works, but assuming all the information makes sense at the end of this call, could you see anything stopping us from getting started today? You're going to hear one of two things. No, nothing will stop me. Great. I guess you'll hear one of three things. You'll hear, no, nothing will stop me. Great. You'll hear, no, nothing will stop me except the cost and understanding what the cost is. And you'll hear, yes, something would stop me. I would still need to talk about this with my partner, my colleague, blah, blah, blah. No, nothing would stop me. Move on. No, nothing would stop me, but the cost would. Guess what? Just open up the door to have a conversation about the cost. It's a super appropriate time at this point in the call, in my opinion, to have that conversation. Hey, cool. I'll break it all down for you. This is what the cost of the program is. Shut up. Super important part. Shut up. I should have mentioned that earlier on in this video, but the silence that you're going to use on your sales calls is so powerful. The longest I've been silent on one call is 3 minutes long, and it was just like scratching your nails against a chalkboard. Painful. It was absolutely terrible. But the silence gives the prospect the space to speak and give you more information that you're going to use to tie them down to why your program will be a good fit for them. Now, when we get into the next part of our framework of explaining the offer, we want to keep this one very, very short. 200 words or less. It's probably going to be 2 to 3 minutes. And it should be a framework of your offer. It's not line items on exactly what you're going to do. I hate when reps will give me week 1 is this, week 2 is this, week 3 is this, week 4 is this. You just ask them 45 minutes worth of diagnosis questions to be able to take what is now the offer and format it to exactly what their pain is. So make sure you're doing that, but really overall keep your offer short. Why do we want to keep our offer short? Because then our prospect is going to start asking us questions. They're going to ask only the questions to the pieces of information that they need at this point in time. This is where there's going to be a really big shift in the energy of the conversation. Once you've explained the offer and you shut up, it's now their turn and they're going to feel it. Why? Because you told them at the beginning of the call when you set the table that I'm going to walk you through the program, and then if you're excited about it, we'll talk about next steps. So after I explain the offer, I say, so how does that sound? Are you excited about that? Because I'm reminding them of how I set the table at the beginning, because they know the excitement then transitions into talking about next steps. So that's exactly where I'm trying to guide them. That's exactly why setting that table and giving that framework at the beginning is so important. So when you're getting asked questions now, I promise you every question you're getting asked, you have the answer to. Surely, hopefully you do. There's not really going to be a single question someone's going to ask you that you can't answer. But instead of overloading your prospect with information that they didn't need about week 1 and week 2 and week 3 and week 4 and week 5 through week 12 and how many coaching calls there are and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Instead of overloading your prospect with that information, they just got answers to only the questions that they needed answers to. You gave them all the right answers. It looks like the perfect offer to them. There's no extra stuff for them to go take home and think about. Thinking about it, right? That objection, among many other objections. Here's the deal. Good marketing, finding the right avatar with the right message, building the right pain, good marketing will solve every objection on the sales call. Good marketing doesn't need a sales team. Good marketing can send someone to a website page and they'll put in their credit card for $5,000 and buy the program. I've seen good marketing before do that. Now, good marketing that needs a little boost needs the sales call. That's where the sales call comes in to really drive people across the line. But if we're finding the right people and eliminating a lot of objections through our marketing motions, we can eliminate those objections on the back end of our call. Now, another way to eliminate objections on the back end of your sales call is going to be by asking the right questions in the front end of your sales call. If you can get the right tie downs and the right information on exactly why someone wants to do this, why they like your program, what they've done to solve it, why now, why the person that running it, the brand visionary, why the brand visionary, any objection that you look at that you could potentially foresee in your business, write them all down right now. And then look at those objections and say, what question can I ask in my discovery portion or in my commitments framework in order to eliminate all these objections? And when I'm taking notes, I'm timestamping these things. If someone, I ask a question that says, that eliminates them having to talk to their spouse. Does your spouse know you're on this call today? Yes, they do. What do they think about this? They let me do whatever I want. Cool, sick. I'm writing down the timestamp of that, because if that comes up at the end of the call, I'm calling a number right out on it. Guaranteed. So I'm not going to go into too much on other objection handling tactics. Maybe we can do that in another video. If you would like to see that, please drop a comment below. But that is really going to be all for me today, ladies and gentlemen. This is my first video, my first training I've ever actually made for the public on exactly how I build my B2C sales framework. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if I left anything out. Let me know if you would change anything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, turn on that notification bell. Tell me what you think of my backyard. Pretty cool, right? And I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much.